be able to represent our good friend Jason Lowe, our current board chairman, who sends his regards and welcome for this draft. We've been fortunate to have long-term investors in our chamber, our board of governors, and our pillar board, who have contributed greatly to the leadership of our efforts. Many are here today. All of you should please stand right now.
Come on,
come on, guys. Come on. All right, welcome. Let's get right there.
Thank you, Alan, and looking very much forward to working closely with you this coming year as well. Thanks, Alan. For everybody in this room, I first want to say, oh my gosh, I've lived in Miami Beach since 1994 and I've been here twice. What a hidden gem this place is, the Bass Museum. I would encourage all of you to not just go on the tour today. Silvia Cubina is actually executive director of the Bass Museum and she's the chief curator, and there will be a tour today. I'm going to be on that tour. I'd encourage everyone to walk through it and absorb as much as you can for this fabulous institution. And today's theme is art. And as part of the Chamber's mission, it's really important that we focus not just on business, but business and government and art and education. And I'm proud to say that the Pillar Breakfasts have brought that to the table, really your breakfast table. Each quarter, we've done an amazing job in doing things like today, for example. This place is truly amazing, and we're happy to bring it to you. So, again, I'd like to first really thank our host, the Bass Museum today. Thank you.
CenterStage is happy and proud to be the sponsor of the Pillar Breakfast here at this beautiful Bass Museum of Art. CenterStage is the premier magazine for theater. Some of the arts organizations we serve are the Miami City Ballet, the New World Symphony, the Aventura Arts and Cultural Center, and the South Miami-Dade Cultural Arts Center. Remember, theater programs are read by people when they are out enjoying themselves, which is the best time to get your message across. Sara is now going to pick a business card, and you will be the winner of 2 tickets to the New World show at the New World Symphony. I will give you my card, and you'll call me and we'll arrange your seats.
Okay, the winner is Clara Serrano.
Yeah! Deco restoration in the 90s really put Miami Beach back on the worldwide map. Of course, and this belabors the obvious, Art Basel did the same thing. Well, today we're here to take it one step further and forecast what's happening next in the art world as it relates to Miami Beach.
Welcome to the Bass Museum. I know there are a few people who have never been here, so please tell your friends and come back. So our mission statement is, we inspire and educate by exploring the connections between our historical collection and contemporary art. I think it looks quite obvious here that we have a 16th century tapestry, a Botticelli, the only one in Miami, and we have contemporary art, Ana Mendieta and Anna Olofsson. So that's a brief tour of this room. I don't know if any of you know, and this has been in the papers recently, can anyone here have a guess what percentage of the budget is made at the gate? Average.
In terms of when it comes to fair day.
No, here at the museum. What? Between 5 and 7% of our annual budget is from people paying admissions at the door. And that's the annual, that is the average in the United States. So where does the rest come from? Donors, government, foundation, corporations, and all of that. So that's part of what we do here at the museum. We inspire and educate, so we have our educational programs, we do our exhibitions, but we are kind of a business as well. I like to tell my staff that we should have, as a nonprofit corporation, we should have a for-profit mentality, running business, with a nonprofit spirit. Because what we sell is education and culture, that's the spirit. So, in that spirit, we're going to talk about our collaboration.
Untitled started by actually Jerry Libbin coming to, we met last year, about two weeks before the fair. Art Basel, Art Asia is another fair that I own, talking about bringing a fair to the beach. And to condense it down, we looked at a bunch of different locations, couldn't find anything that worked, and then we looked at Ocean and Dirty. And we decided, what a great opportunity to bring the fair to the beach, which is the essence of South. And that's how that started. And then from there, the dialogue moved on to how do we really create an event that's truly unique, working with architects, working with curators, and building that direction.
So, do you want to talk about what an art fair does? How does that work? And how is it different from, say, an auction house or a museum?
Doing good. Oh, well, I feel it. So anyways, an art fair works with galleries to bring them from all over the world and ultimately put them in an environment where they can reach out to new collectors and they can expand their marketplace. And so that's what we do. We bring galleries from all over the world to Miami Beach to ultimately work with collectors that they have here that exist and then meet the new collectors and develop new relationships with new collectors and sell the work and expose the artists and work with these artists.
So art fairs, I think, are responsible not only in bringing collectors together, but also creating collectors.
Absolutely. That's one of the biggest parts of an art fair business, is to really create more collectors, to work with the marketplace to develop and nurture collectors.
So on that note, I think collectors in development like a very nice place to see art, maybe a restaurant or two. And I'm going to, did we introduce Terry Riley? I don't think so. I don't even think I introduced you. Okay. Let's introduce Terry Riley. Terry Riley is a partner at KR. It's an architecture firm. And before that, he was the executive director of the Miami Art Museum. And previous to that, the chief curator of the Architecture and Design Department at the Museum of Modern Art in New York. So Terry, why are you on this panel?
That could be a long story. Before Momo, I should also mention I was an architect. So I went AWOL from my architectural practice for a good long bit, but particularly in museums that are building new buildings or museums that have a department of architecture, it was a very nice place to be. We were lucky enough to meet Jeff. I think because of my involvement in museums, and actually my partner John Keenan, who's leading the design on the tent venue, has also spent quite a bit of time curating exhibitions. And there's a big crossover in our firm between museums, commercial galleries, spaces for private collectors, et cetera, et cetera. And it's always, we found that when we meet people like Jeff who are very passionate about art, they're delighted to find out that there actually are some architects who know something about art, because it's not all just taking pictures. I mean, it's a very complicated sort of process. And one thing that I would add to what everybody has said so far, and it's another reason it's been interesting to work with Jeff, is the art fairs are events, and that's why they have so much excitement. And that's why you need a tent, because you're creating a market. It's something as old as centuries and centuries old. That's how people come together. And what that place looks like, I think, is very important. It says something about the container, says something about the contained. And I think this idea of just a generic tent that looks like a big white monopoly house is something that Jeff very much wanted to avoid. If I could just do a little soapbox. As a former museum director and curator, we loved art fairs, but the reason the art fair is here in Miami, and the reason it's in Basel, is there's a certain demographic. People that organize these fairs like smaller urban settings where people can walk, where people can go between the venues. They also like it when the fair can basically take over the whole town for a few days. And Miami Beach qualified for that, and Basel certainly qualified for that. But they also pick these places because they have an art scene. And it would be sad to have a big art fair in a place that has no indigenous art culture. And of course, that culture is 52 weeks a year. And I think, as a former director, I can only urge you to listen to what Silvia is saying about about how deeply these institutions can support, and not just during an art fair, but really, it's a year-round event. The other thing, this group has a lot of influence. When I see advertising about Miami Beach outside of Miami, there's never any mention of culture. I mean, I think it might be changing, but why the New World Symphony doesn't get as much ad space as the beaches and the nightlife, I have no idea, because we're missing a demographic, and those of you who have to recruit people from out of town, move to Miami, their opinion of what Miami is shaped by that advertising.
I think you're seeing it too, the support that we're getting for Untitled now. And the idea really is with Untitled is to really develop something that's really here for the residents of Miami Beach. It's really part of this, working with special ticket prices for the residents that are here, really building something that is significant, that really adds to what's already happening in this great city.
The design of the tent, which can't be unveiled until Jeff is ready, we also wanted to make a tent where the threshold kind of disappeared, where it was really easy to imagine yourself going in. Miami, because of a few very strong, interesting personalities dedicated to art, have kind of defined collecting in Miami as having a warehouse with 10,000 works of art. You don't have to have 10,000 works of art to be a collector.
You have one.
You have one.
One is to be passionate about the art, passionate about the art. We're not even collecting, but about being in front of it.
And you shouldn't count yourself out as a potential collector. Again, you go to the warehouse and do it.
I think the word collector is very strange. Collector used to be a person that had thousands of works in storage or in a warehouse. Collector is anybody who buys art, anybody who buys anything, actually. And I have another question, but I'm going to ask Alan Randolph, who we added to the panel this morning when he walked in. So Alan,